Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
The act of colonizing, the establishment of colonies. A community of people smaller than a town. Termination of a business operation by using its assets to discharge its liabilities. A body of people who settle far from home but maintain ties with their homeland. Inhabitants remain nationals of their home state but are not literally under the home state's system of government. Something settled or resolved, the outcome of decision-making. They finally reached a settlement with the Union. A conclusive resolution of a matter and disposition of it. An area where a group of families live together. The act of colonizing, the establishment of colonies. The act of colonizing, the establishment of colonies. The British colonization of America. A community of people smaller than a town. A mainly residential district of Manhattan. The Village became a home for many writers and artists in the 20th century. A community of people smaller than a town. A settlement smaller than a town. The act of exterminating. Termination of a business operation by using its assets to discharge its liabilities. The murder of a competitor. A geographical area politically controlled by a distant country. A body of people who settle far from home but maintain ties with their homeland. Inhabitants remain nationals of their home state but are not literally under the home state's system of government. The American colony in Paris. A group of organisms of the same type living or growing together. A place where a group of people with the same interest or occupation are concentrated. A nudist colony. Microbiology, a group of organisms grown from a single parent cell. One of the 13 British colonies that formed the original states of the United States. An obstruction in a pipe or tube. A rule for limiting or ending debate in a deliberative body. A Gestalt principle of organization holding that there is an innate tendency to perceive incomplete objects as complete and to close or fill gaps and to perceive asymmetric stimuli as symmetric. The act of blocking. Approaching a particular destination. A coming closer. A narrowing of a gap. Termination of operations. They regretted the closure of the day care center. Something settled or resolved, the outcome of decision-making. He needed to grieve before he could achieve a sense of closure. Terminate debate by calling for a vote. Debate was closured. The trait of being resolute. It was his unshakable resolution to finish the work. Analysis into clear-cut components. A formal expression by a meeting. Agreed to by a vote. A statement that solves a problem or explains how to solve the problem. Finding a solution to a problem. The ability of a microscope or telescope to measure the angular separation of images that are close together. Something settled or resolved, the outcome of decision-making. They never did achieve a final resolution of their differences. A decision to do something or to behave in a certain manner. He always wrote down his New Year's resolutions. Computer science. The number of pixels per square inch on a computer-generated display. The greater the resolution, the better the picture. Music. A dissonant chord is followed by a consonant chord. The subsidence of swelling or other signs of inflammation, especially in a lung. Geology, the geological features of the Earth. The act of forming or establishing something. The act of fabricating something in a particular shape. An arrangement of people or things acting as a unit. A defensive formation. A particular spatial arrangement. Creation by mental activity. The formation of sentences. Natural process that causes something to form. The formation of gas in the intestine. The persons, or committees or departments etc., who make up a body for the purpose of administering something. An ordered manner. Orderliness by virtue of being methodical and well organized. The act of forming or establishing something. The activity or result of distributing or disposing persons or things properly or methodically. A group of people who work together. The act of organizing a business or an activity related to a business. An organized structure for arranging or classifying. The persons, or committees or departments etc., who make up a body for the purpose of administering something. An ordered manner. Orderliness by virtue of being methodical and well organized. His compulsive organization was not an endearing quality. The act of forming or establishing something. He still remembers the organization of the club. The activity or result of distributing or disposing persons or things properly or methodically. His organization of the workforce was very efficient. A group of people who work together. The act of organizing a business or an activity related to a business. He was brought in to supervise the organization of a new department. An organized structure for arranging or classifying. The facts were familiar, but it was in the organization of them that he was original. Law determining the fundamental political principles of a government. The act of forming or establishing something. The constitution of a PTA group last year. The way in which someone or something is composed. The Constitution written at the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia in 1787 and subsequently ratified by the original 13 states. A United States 44-gun frigate that was one of the first 3 naval ships built by the United States. It won brilliant victories over British frigates during the War of 1812 and is without doubt the most famous ship in the history of the United States Navy. It has been rebuilt and is anchored in the Charlestown Navy Yard in Boston. The persons, or committees or departments etc., who make up a body for the purpose of administering something. He quickly became recognized as a member of the establishment. An organization founded and united for a specific purpose. The cognitive process of establishing a valid proof. Ecology, the process by which a plant or animal becomes established in a new habitat. The act of forming or establishing something. It was the establishment of his reputation. Any large organization. A public or private structure, business or governmental or educational, including buildings and equipment for business or residence. A district where people live, occupied primarily by private residences. Agreement as to goals. The preachers and the bootleggers found they had a community of interests. Ecology, a group of interdependent organisms inhabiting the same region and interacting with each other. A group of nations having common interests. They hoped to join the NATO community. A group of people having a religion, ethnic, profession, or other particular characteristic in common. He was well known throughout the Catholic community. A group of people living in a particular local area. The team is drawn from all parts of the community. Common ownership. They shared a community of possessions. Event whose occurrence ends something. His death marked the ending of an era. The end of a word, a suffix or inflectional ending or final morpheme. I don't like words that have ism as an ending. The act of ending something. The last section of a communication. The point in time at which something ends. The ending of warranty period. The end of a word, a suffix or inflectional ending or final morpheme. The act of ending something. The termination of the agreement. A coming to an end of a contract period. A place where something ends or is complete. Something that results. Event whose occurrence ends something. The proposition arrived at by logical reasoning, such as the proposition that must follow from the major and minor premises of a syllogism. The act of making up your mind about something. He drew his conclusions quickly. A position or opinion or judgment reached after consideration. His conclusion took the evidence into account. The act of ending something. The last section of a communication. In conclusion, I want to say. The temporal end, the concluding time. A final settlement. The conclusion of a business deal. An intuitive assumption. Jump to a conclusion. The property of holding together and retaining its shape. Wool has more body than rayon. A resonating chamber in a musical instrument, as the body of a violin. Invest with or as with a body. Give body to. The entire physical structure of an organism, an animal, plant, or human being. He felt as if his whole body were on fire. The body excluding the head and neck and limbs. A natural object consisting of a dead animal or person. They found the body in the lake. A collection of particulars considered as a system. A body of law. A group of persons associated by some common tie or occupation and regarded as an entity. The whole body filed out of the auditorium. An individual three-dimensional object that has mass and that is distinguishable from other objects. Heavenly body. The central message of a communication. The body of the message was short. The external structure of a vehicle. The body of the car was badly rusted. The main mass of a thing. The cognitive process of reaching a decision. A good executive must be good at decision-making. The cognitive process of reaching a decision. Having the power or quality of deciding. Cast the deciding vote. The statement, oral or written, of an exchange of promises. There was an understanding between management and the workers. The capacity for rational thought or inference or discrimination. An inclination to support or be loyal to or to agree with an opinion. I knew I could count on his understanding. The cognitive condition of someone who understands. He has virtually no understanding of social cause and effect. characterized by understanding based on comprehension and discernment and empathy. An understanding friend. The statement, oral or written, of an exchange of promises. They had an agreement that they would not interfere in each other's business. Compatibility of observations. There was no agreement between theory and measurement. The thing arranged or agreed to. Harmony of people's opinions or actions or characters. The two parties were in agreement. The determination of grammatical inflection on the basis of word relations. The verbal act of agreeing. A demarcated area of the earth. 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 Statistics, the entire aggregation of items from which samples can be drawn. It is an estimate of the mean of the population. A group of organisms of the same species inhabiting a given area. They hired hunters to keep down the deer population. The act of populating, causing to live in a place. He deplored the population of colonies with convicted criminals. The number of inhabitants, either the total number or the number of a particular race or class, in a given place, country or city, etc. People come and go, but the population of this town has remained approximately constant for the past decade. The people who inhabit a territory or state. The population seemed to be well fed and clothed. A cooperative Israeli village or settlement comprised of small farms. Sale of an insurance policy by a terminally ill policyholder. Cash derived from sale of an insurance policy by a terminally ill policyholder. Sale of an insurance policy by a terminally ill policyholder.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.